Welcome to this week's podcast episode. I have brought on 4 former podcast interviews for my first Roundtable. This should be very exciting. So I'd like to start out. Each person is going to introduce themselves and give a little background on them. Jeff, if you'll begin.
Hi, my name is Jeff Mocini. I reside in Melbourne, Florida. I'm currently a software engineer. However, I am a competitive amateur golfer looking to make a way to professional golf, and I'm also transitioning into becoming a host of a motivational and inspirational podcast to be dropped in a few weeks. So I'm beginning to want to transition more on the lifestyle entrepreneur side of things, but I have a calling to shine my light on as many people as possible, for I have overcome a lot of adversity and circumstances, and I've had a calling to provide those same people that have helped me along the way some inspiration and light to rise above their current situation.
Awesome. Thank you. Colleen, we'll go to you.
Hey guys, Colleen Lindberg. I'm a business coach and growth strategist for business. So I help entrepreneurs really hone in on their growth systems and where they're headed. And I'm a Canadian that just recently moved to California just because she could and for no other reason other than to explore life.
Awesome. And actually, Colleen and I are finally meeting in person. I'm so stoked that we're both in California.
Me too. I can't wait.
All right, Brandon, you're up.
What's up, everyone? Super pumped to be here. My name is LaBella. I just graduated from William Mary, and I am an author. I'm a unofficial world record holder for fast marathon on crutches, and my purpose and my gift is to help other people achieve their full potential. And I think that right now my big focus is on education and how we can create educational through digital platform and emotional intelligence to help society grow into the people that they can be themselves, be authentic, live in a more peaceful, healthier society. So, cheers.
Amen. And last but not least, Melissa.
Hello, everybody. Melissa Faith Ramirez here. New Yorker, moved to Hawaii about 3 years ago on a one-way ticket because I needed to get out of the rat race and find a new way. I'm what they call an intuitive empath. So I work through my intuition, and I'm empathic to feel and sense energy and emotion from others, and also a medical intuitive, so I'm able to read illness off of other individuals. And the work that I do is to help people really just hone in and trust their inner wisdom. We all have this beautiful intuition, this beautiful inner light that directs us, to where we need to go to continue following our joy and our happiness, and really give ourselves permission to tap into that. It just opens up so many doors and opportunities to actually live a more abundant and rich life. So, namaste.
Thank you. The reason I brought all of you on, as the title of my podcast is Living a Balanced Life, I asked each of you questions regarding what does that mean to you? What is a balanced lifestyle? And if you could define balance. But what I want to start with first is I asked each of you if you have a morning routine, because I think a lot of the followers were into Lewis Howes, Tony Robbins, Mel Robbins, to name a few. Everybody, all these very successful people tend to have morning routines, and each of you do. What I want to know is, what time do you start, and what would happen if you didn't do your morning routine? So, Colleen, let's start with you.
Yeah, sure. I start at 5 a.m., so it actually made it really easy when I moved from Eastern to Pacific time zone, because technically 5 a.m. here is like 8 a.m. So it allowed me to sleep in like some mornings, which was kind of cool. And what I do in the morning is I have to take the dog out. So the first thing I usually do is feed the cats, take the dog for a walk/run. And then I come back, get my coffee ready. I always have a bulletproof coffee in the morning, and then I meditate or journal. And some mornings that could be an hour. Some mornings it could be half an hour, depending on what's going on for the rest of my day. And then I usually will shower, read a little bit, educate myself, and then kind of get going for the day. And if I don't have that, it always feels like the day is in chaos, So I then have to reframe it somewhere else in the day and get right back grounded if I don't actually are able to do the things I need to do in the morning. So,
Brandon, what time do you start?
Yeah, so this is a really good question, and it's so funny because the last like 4 days I've been in a slump and I haven't been going on the morning routine, and I've been able to see how far that holds me back from being the best version of myself every single day. So it was about 5:30 or 6, wake up, drink a glass of water, gratitude, 5-minute plank series, and then go to the gym and start my day with a nice breakfast. But it's crazy to see what happens when you don't do it and how that impacts you, because I've been on a very hectic schedule and an intensive leadership course. It's like 24 hours. So I think this actually emphasizes further the importance of really a morning routine and what that does, and how I really feel when I wake up in the morning, when I meditate, when I have that time to myself, because then I can't be myself and I feel rough the rest of the day. So.
Okay. Melissa?
So I'm also I love to get up before the sun actually rises. I live right in front of the beach. I'm so blessed to be able to do that, to go across and sit until the sun actually hits me. And that's when I open my eyes and I go into my yoga routine, or I go for a swim and do something physical, right? I feel like kind of getting the energy out of the body first thing in the morning really sets the day. And prior to that, it's lemon water with honey, cayenne, turmeric, a little bit of ginger to kind of give another boost to the internal system. Gratitude, of course, there's always a list of gratitude first thing in the morning to recognize, how blessed we actually are. And journal meditation, anything that kind of really hones me and brings me back to my center. And play with my cat. That's the best part about the whole morning. So yeah, so active and centered at the same time.
And Jeff?
Yes, I am an early morning riser, usually at 5 o'clock. Depends on a few things. There's just a lot of things that I try to pack into my morning routine, just because I am all about building momentum and building a big sense of movement towards having just a wonderful and productive day. So usually it starts out with a cup of bulletproof coffee also. That just kind of runs through my veins lately. It gives me that sustained energy throughout most of the day. And then I spend some time walking my gratitude for what I'm grateful for, because it just builds the feelings and thoughts that I want to have to set out and just flat out kick ass with whatever I need to do. And then I'll spend some time, about 15, 20 minutes, educating myself, reading a few books. I've been reading The Daily Stoic, which is like 365 dedicated meditations by Ryan Holiday, as well as reading daily emails I get from my church about readings, just strengthening my spirituality and faith in that sense of regard. And then when time permits, because sometimes life gets in the way, I'll try to get a workout in before I head out to work. And by the time that I get there, I've achieved a lot that morning, and then I feel like I can do anything.
What I really want to hone in on here is that each of you, when your written responses to me were that you all meditate, you all have some sort of morning movement, whether it's yoga, walking, exercise. You all have gratitude, and then you read and write. So I thought it was amazing that all of you on your own are doing the same thing. And mine is very similar as well. I have my own acronym. I call it a great morning. So gratitude, reading, exercise, affirmations, transcribing. But I also want to know, what was life like before you started a morning routine? Jeff, let's start with you.
I would say it is uncontrollable chaos. I felt like I was at the mercy of my external circumstances, where I felt hopeless, didn't really have any control about how my day was going to go. I just kind of woke up and prayed that everything was going to fall into place as it should. And it just left me in a place of not having any power. I've always felt like I got reactionary to a lot of certain things, such as getting cut off by a driver or getting hit by red light after red light after red light. And that just kind of built so much negativity that nobody wanted to be around me. I think I really got present to this when I was out playing golf one day with a few players that I just met that day. And I just got a whole bunch of negative energy surrounding me that, I really wanted to play golf with them again, but they never really returned my calls or texts or anything. So it was from that moment that I needed to make an adjustment in my life, not just in that arena, but in all areas of my life.
Colleen?
I'm in the same boat, I think it's just chaos. It's like I couldn't manage my day. Like I actually, through the flow of what I do now in the morning, I'm able then to be in a really great mindset. So when I hit gas pedal down for client calls or in the business, I can really be focused and present. Whereas before it was like, I'd be drinking coffee while on a call, putting them on mute, trying to get stuff done, So it's like, yeah, I just find like I own the day now when I get to do what I want kind of in the morning. So,
Brandon, what was life like before you had your morning routine?
Yeah, I would say it's like completely chaotic. It's not organized. It's just really not fun. You know what I mean? Like I didn't meditate before. I didn't have a routine, and I was so wired up. I wasn't focused, and it's really changed my perspective on just how I can function and how I can maximize the day and how much work I can do, how productive I can be, how much better person I can be to other people and understand and be aware of myself and just enjoy the day a lot better. So yeah, lots of gains and gains for me and gains for society. So.
And Melissa?
Yeah, ditto. Chaos. And that actually gave me the inspiration to create my platform called We Create Our Crazy. So it just goes to show, if we don't have our morning routine, if we don't really hone in on what we need first to start the day, then it just creates the crazy that comes in front of us. So yeah, not happy, not good. Now, very good.
And I'll speak from my own experience. When I wake up and I don't do my morning routine, then it's like I have no direction for the day. I'm kind of lollygagging. I don't feel motivated. I don't know. Like I'm such a list girl. So I think and I don't know what all you guys journal or write about, but for me, I journal my gratitude and what I'm focused on or excited about. And then I'm such a list girl, right? So I've got to make my list and I love crossing it off. And morning routines are huge. That's awesome. Okay, so from here, I want to move more into defining a balanced life. And you all gave me your own answers, but maybe if you could sum it up again for the listeners in a sentence or two, what does it mean to you to have a balanced lifestyle? Brandon?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, this is something that is super, super important for me in terms of creating boundaries for the worst case scenarios in terms of I need to be mentally and physically healthy. I need to get exercise every single day. I need to do my gratitude. I need to meditate. So creating boundaries on what actually goes on my everyday basis allow me to function properly. And what I mean by a balanced life is by incorporating the internal happiness and satisfaction and fulfillment of giving yourself a chance to be yourself every day, but at the same time creating success externally. And I think that before I became a lifestyle entrepreneur, I ended up just getting caught up in the success outside of just checking the boxes and money, but I never got caught up in the satisfaction and internal peace of myself. So it comes down to both sides of things, and giving and serving is amazing, and that's part of the journey, and that's what's made me so happy. But there's a big difference between success and happiness, and I feel that a lot of people are missing balance. So a meaningful life is one where you check the boxes, you make money, and you sustainably live, but at the same time, you're also at inner peace with yourself, and you're happy with who you are and how you present yourself each day. So that's the way that I look at it. And it's a constant struggle. It's not easy.
I think that's the whole progress, not perfection, right? We're all here going through, learning lessons, failing forward. Yeah. Melissa, how about you? Defining a balanced lifestyle.
So it's just the dance of the being and the doing, right? It's the dance of them going within, meditating, being with your creation, and then actually making it happen in the physical world, the doing part. So I believe very much in visualization and really honing in on what it is that you desire to create, and then putting it out there in order for it to manifest, and then just letting it go and letting it just come to you. you know, if and when it's due to come. So it's, yeah, the dance of being and doing, the constant happy fun dance of being and doing, because it's a challenge, right, for all of us. But you know, the daily practice, of course, always helps.
Jeff?
I would say balance for me is living in integrity with the core values of your life. Now, we're in a very busy, distracting world. So as human beings, this is going to be very challenging for us. And we're all going to fall out of integrity at some point during the day, during the week, during the month. And it is up to us to restore that balance and integrity with ourselves so that we can maintain a state of harmony with our body, mind, and overall consciousness.
And Colleen, define balance for you.
Yeah, I just find that balance is the time that we get to connect back into the things that are most important to us, and whatever that means for us on a daily basis. Like all of us have, as Jeff says, you know, our own integrity when it comes to certain values that we position or certain things that are important to us in a day. So it's just a matter of how are you finding a way to make all those happen at the same time as being and doing, like Melissa said, you know, and having that dance with yourself. So it's about bringing that all together and making sure that the people or the things that are important to you in your life are getting done at the same time as all the other things we have to do. So.
And actually, Melissa, to touch a little bit more on what you said, I loved it, and actually I underlined it here. But I know for me, I believe that we are souls and we've come here for a human experience. But a lot of us, rather than being human beings, we feel that we are human doings and that we always need to be doing. Yeah. So how do you balance the being but do? How do you do it?
So it's really first and foremost, it's us breaking down those conditioned beliefs that we have of perfectionism, of perhaps shame or guilt, or perhaps we're kind of spinning our wheels doing something that just doesn't feel right for us, but we're just doing it because maybe there's these external voices that are asking us that needs to get done. So I think working through those levels, those emotional levels first, like really being aware of those triggers that come up, really being aware of those patterns that we're living, right? And then once we're able to see those patterns that we're living, we can actually hone in and start recreating, healing, forgiving, and recreating, you know, new beliefs, new patterns. So when that moment of like you're being, right, and you're going to do, and you get overwhelmed to want to overdo, it's just like taking a step back, you know, being aware of that moment when it's not going the direction that you want it to go, just taking a step back and taking a breath. Something as simple, taking a deep breath, is something we've really all have forgotten, right? If we're in that moment of torment, just take a deep breath. And that helps to kind of bring you back into alignment, right, and rebalance you. Yeah.
On that note, I want to ask the group as a whole. I understand the importance and the benefits of meditation, although it's still somewhat difficult for me with the monkey mind. But I have found for myself I'm better at a moving meditation, such as yoga. Yoga is a time where crazy for me, but that's when I can shut it down and totally be in the pose. But what are benefits that you receive when you do meditation? Whoever would like to share.
I really find just a state of inner peace and ease whenever I do it. I come in with like a myriad of thoughts that no longer serve me, and meditation's a great way to just kind of let all those thoughts go with the rest of the universe so that I can just start out with a clean slate all over again. It's really just a cleansing experience for me. And that's been very beneficial when preparing for various golf tournaments throughout my summer. And I am proud to say that I've had one of my best amateur seasons yet, and I continue to be on the rise.
I also use it in the same fashion that Jeff does, but I have now honed in on at least, like, I'm doing more than just my morning meditation now. I'm doing more meditation throughout the day. And now I'm using it for visualization to land in the quantum, if we want to go there, for things that I want to manifest at rapid speed. So I am learning how to hone in on the visualization and the emotional attachment to that and really kind of land in that frame. So I'm using it more like as a test subject currently when it comes to manifesting things. But I also use it to quiet the mind and to just get connected to myself at the same time.
Yeah, I think for me, like it serves as so much more awareness. And I think it's really important that people give it patience and time, because I remember I have a mind like you, and I got super uncomfortable and I like went away from it. And I just realized that it's not one of those things where you kind of like throw in there when you're having problems. That's great and that's important to relieve stress, but it's something that you, before you start your day, like in your morning routine, and really get that familiarity with it, because now I get super into it every single day. And also it gets deeper and deeper every single time. So once you kind of get over that uncomfortable kind of phase of it, it just gets more clarity and more visualization and more excitement and deeper and deeper. So, and there's different ways, right? It's like yoga, it's like guided meditation. There's all different types. And for me, I have a teacher that I normally go to. He's amazing. But it all depends. It could be just driving around with music, right? It could be different for everyone. They can just, could be cooking when they can just lose their mind and not think about anything. So there's hope out for you to find something that you can meditate with, and it's going to take some time, but it will definitely be a delayed gratification.
Oh, agreed. Completely agreed. Right. And every day is different. One day I want to dance. The next day I want to just, lay in the grass in the sun. And the next day I actually want to be candle gazing. So it's all about really tapping in and listening to what my body needs at that moment and my mind needs at that moment. But levitation, meditation takes me to these places that I just won't be able to get there without any kind of plant medicine or any kind of, subsidy. It's so it just brings me to another space of understanding that we are limitless, understanding that we are more than just this physical body, that we are here for this beautiful purpose, to be served, to help others, to help ourselves. We're in this beautiful time of extreme change, like Jeff had mentioned. And I believe the energies right now are so high, assisting those that are giving themselves permission to do the work, to really look within and say, okay, this doesn't serve me anymore. I'm going to shift out of this. This doesn't serve me anymore either. I'm going to shift out of it and crave, to live a bigger and better life every day. So meditation has saved my life, to be very honest with you, because there came a point where it was like prescription medication or meditation. And I'm so grateful that I listened to myself and I chose meditation, because now I'm here, alive, and able to serve my purpose. Yeah.
I love that. That was powerful. I have another question, and Colleen, you actually touched on it, visualization. So I want to ask all of you as a whole, do you all do some sort of visualization? Maybe it's vision board or in your meditation or in your morning routine, but if we could touch a little bit more on visualization. And wait, time out. Sorry. Visualization, and then if you can give an example of something that you have meditated on or put the intention out and something awesome that you have, quote, manifested.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I don't even know how to reference. I'm really known as a meditator and manifester. So I usually can manifest things pretty good. Like I'm testing out right now though, like a BHAG revenue goal, like big, hairy, audacious revenue goal. So I'm testing it out right now. The universe has provided though a little like breadcrumb to show that my manifestation is working. Like randomly, I got this like $600 check from the government the other day, and I was like, yes, money comes from everywhere. Like money comes from everywhere. But I use visualization at the beginning of the day to set my day, where I think about what I want it to feel like, what I want to accomplish today, what are the things on it, and I usually will visualize every day in the morning what that day is like. But I also have, vision boards all over the place. I was just connected into the thought process of a mind movie and actually creating a mind movie, which is like something I don't have a lot of information on yet, but something I'm looking into for sure. And yeah, I use it all the time. So.
Yeah, I think for me, I think that visualization has helped me kind of in moments where there was a clear, definitive kind of end line. And like one example that comes up is for the marathon. Like literally, like I sprained my ACL and MCL 2 weeks before the New York State Marathon, and I was training a ton and was like mentally and physically healthy, and realized that I I visualized that finish line, and all that needed to happen was I got to that start line to break the world record. And literally, like when I got to that start line, I just visualized that finish line, and there was nothing that was going to stop me. I don't care if it was raining out, my crutch broke, everything was, I couldn't feel anything part of my body. But at the end of the day, when you visualize that finish line, there is nothing that can truly get in the way. And that's why I'm such a big believer that when you really set your mind to anything with proper preparation and proper mindset, that anything's possible. And David Goggins is someone that you might want to listen to if there's something that you need to accomplish that may seem in the impossible. But I mean, that's a one-time thing, right? When you're visualizing long-term success and dreams, you have to start baby step by baby step. And that's like the biggest kind of thing about it, is that you're never going to achieve your dreams if you just go after them and there's no individual inch by inch. So I think that it's about enjoying the journey, visualizing, taking baby steps to continue to get towards it, and you're not going to lose. So
I say visualization is very critical to manifesting anything that you want in your life. As you can see behind me, I have a picture of one of the most famous holes in the world, the 12th hole at Augusta National, where the Masters is played at every year. And one of my pinnacle achievements that I'm going to manifest over time is playing in the Masters as an amateur. I feel like that I'm getting closer towards that ultimate goal, simply because I'm meditating and visualizing the steps along the way. I'm getting closer to qualifying for a big tournament such as the U.S. Amateur, U.S. Mid-Am, U.S. Open. But I'm really excelling right now at the state amateur level, playing in all these big tournaments, simply because I envision my success long beforehand. There's always going to be self-doubt. There's always going to be those nerves. There's going to be some kind of adversity that you're going to have to navigate through in order to achieve anything substantial in your life. We're humans. We're engineered to stay in our comfort zone. However, our subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is not. So I kind of use that knowledge to my advantage when trying to manifest anything I want on the golf course. And not only that, in my life. I'm also going to implement creating a kind of like a montage that you kind of see like the normal 80s movies, but literally use like cinematic film music, because I really use that to push harder in my workouts. And it's going to be a tool to not only promote my podcast, but also just to keep me going on this journey that I'm on.
Yeah. So again, ditto, ditto, ditto. Visualization. It's a massive part. And I was actually invited by a shaman here in Hawaii on the island of Big Island, which is where Kilauea, the volcano, is currently exploding. And we were doing these exercises, sitting in nature. I believe very much in the force and power of nature and how we're all interconnected as one. And it was just that. It was visualizing something to come, and literally instantly things would come up. So I'm walking through the jungle and I'm saying, now I visualize a white flower to appear, and before you know it, a white flower actually appears. And then a bird will fly my way. I'm watching the bird fly my way, and then a bird actually flies my way. So it's getting into alignment. It's finding your joy. It's loving yourself, respecting yourself, forgiving yourself, and then being able to see that we do have this capacity, right? We don't have to let the external lead us. We can lead ourselves. Yeah.
Thank you all. Visualization is so powerful. And I think that's when it comes into, when you have clarity and you can see it, that's when it comes. But it's that whole believing before you have it. It's that feeling. Jeff, I think you could totally talk on this, especially in the golf round, but feeling that ball go into the hole, or I don't know all these golf terms, but the putt, however many yards you need it to,
Yeah, well, let me elaborate on that. I had my qualifier yesterday, and whenever I visualize a putt going in stronger than a putt not going in the hole, chances are the greater feeling that I had that I attracted happened. And that was just a big eye opener for me. So that just really just gave me the feedback that I needed to really amp up my visualization, because I feel like that while it's strong, but it could be a lot stronger. And I'm just very close to just really breaking free and just kind of leaving my competitors behind.
Awesome. All right, so we're rounding into the final here. And Brandon, I definitely want you to go first, because I understand that you may have to drop off early. But what I want you guys to cover is, what advice would you give to your younger self? And that can be last week, last year, 5 years ago, but advice to your younger self, and then your final words of wisdom that you want to share with the world.
Awesome. Yeah. So I think the wisest words I have is to curiously find ways to discover more about yourself in whatever capacity that is. Find ways to get uncomfortable in safe environments and consistently learn about yourself, consistently grow, continue to enjoy the process, because I think that we all need to shed these layers. We all need to figure out who we are. It actually takes you to figure out, and takes a while and a lot of failures to figure out who your authentic self is. And once you find your authentic self, you need to earn the people who you can surround yourself with that are going to help you move you forward in your journey. So I think it's the younger self is continuously enjoy the process, committing to being a responsible and human being who functions in society and provides responsibility to other people. And I think that that's kind of my advice, is just get out of your comfort zone and find ways to embrace it, be positive, be confident in yourself, and remember that everything is a learning process. And when you be yourself and learn every single day, there's ways to, there's no way that you can fail or grow, but you can just be free in your own ways. So I think that that's kind of the quote, is don't become any of us in this podcast. Become the best version of who you are, and accept where you currently are, and be content and be accepting and be proud of where you currently are right now. But at the same time, strive with curiosity and ambition to become a greater version of yourself, whatever that means for you. Because there's nothing greater and there's nothing greater than you becoming the best version of who you can become. So that would be it. And when you're going after your dreams, utilize the skills and the stuff that all the amazing podcast guests are saying to enhance your journey, to enjoy the process, to embrace the suffering, and to go after them, because time is very precious. So that's it. I'm out, and I'll catch y'all later. Thank you so much.
2 seconds. I wanted to share, you shared this poem with me that I have to read real quick. It says, let them judge you. Let them misunderstand you. Let them gossip about you. Their opinions aren't your problem. You stay kind, committed to love, and free in your authenticity. No matter what they do or say, don't you dare doubt your worth or the beauty of your truth. Just keep on shining like you do. I loved it.
Yeah, and actually a funny quote that came up actually that I'll leave you with, that I've been pondering out lately, and it's all about that authenticity. But it's by E. Cummings, and it's be nobody but yourself, which is doing its best every day and night to make you like everybody else, means to fight the hardest battle which any human being can fight and never stop fighting, which is being your authentic self in the midst of all the chaos and distractions. So I love that, Heather, and I completely agree. We all have our own gifts and our own place to shine, and it's just a matter of unlocking and finding that with your own curiosity. So.
Thank you. All right, now we'll go to, let's do Melissa. Melissa, what advice do you give to your younger self, and your final words of wisdom?
So they're both the same. To my younger self and to the collective, it's be you, just as Brandon was explaining. Love the haters. Yes, sometimes we want to fuck the haters, but love the haters, right? Because if you got haters, it means they want something that they don't have, that you have, right? So honor that. And just be your light. Shine your light, whatever that light may be for you. Just shine it. That's what you're here for. You're here to grow, to feel all the emotions, to live, and to just shine, because what you bring to this presence is going to help heal others and help others in their also evolution. So yeah, be you, love the haters, and shine.
Thank you. And Jeff?
I would say, if I were to give my advice to my younger self, it would be forgive yourself for every mistake that you make. We're only given a finite amount of beats in this dimension or life here on Earth, and it is not worth entertaining the thought of beating ourselves up for past failures and missed opportunities, which is a process I'm still working on as a golfer, because I grew up being a perfectionist, and it it's been a challenge to revert some of those perfectionistic tendencies that I had, not only in the golf course, but also in school, in trying to be the absolute best at everything that I do. And the key component that I was missing the entire time is failure is required for all those things. So the best advice I would give is forgive yourself at all times. We're all human. We're going to make mistakes. And my mantra that I would live by, having said that, is to give yourself permission to love yourself and others. For that foundational principle would solve a lot of the internal conflict that's going on in our world today.
Thank you, Jeff. And Colleen.
Well, I'm also on board with like being your real and authentic self, you know. So like from a young age, I always thought I had to be something. I wore a lot of masks for a lot of people because they didn't understand that if I just was to be me, then maybe I would be okay, you know, like, so I was always trying to be somebody else. So that definitely would be the advice. Just keep being you, keep honing in on your goals and dreams, and those that are aligned with your goals and dreams will align with you. And you don't have to, you know, not everyone has to like you. Just stand in the space and be really authentic and real, and those that do will align with you. And my mantra is always about owning it. So like own your life, own your day, own your choices, stand in the space and own who you are. So yeah.
Thank you all for sharing your stories about balanced life and your morning routine and sharing your wisdom.
Always, Heather. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks,
Thanks,
Heather.
Heather. This is great.